You guys are denying my home.
Okay.
How would you feel if I denied you a home?
All right, well, at this moment, you're denied, and we're done. If you wish to apply again, you can submit another application.
What you're about to watch is a real municipal hearing regarding sex offender residency restrictions. This footage is presented for public awareness and educational purposes. In these public hearings, local officials decide whether a registered sex offender can legally live at a proposed address, often near schools, parks, or other restricted areas. This is one of those hearings.
Mr. O'Neill, this is your first time appearing before the board, is that correct?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so what we're going to ask is, we're going to ask you several questions. The first thing that we are going to talk about is what you were convicted of and how it came about. When you talk about the circumstances, we don't want you to list the victim by name or by relationship. And then we also are going to, at one point, maybe want to talk about any therapy or treatment you have received. You have the opportunity to do that in closed session or remain in public session. Do you have a preference?
I do not.
Okay, we'll remain in public session then. Okay, so the first thing is, so you currently live at 1411 Cass, and you're asking to continue to reside there?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, and how long have you been living at that address?
Probably 2 to 3 weeks.
Okay, and then how did you know that you needed to come before the board?
Well, I had to fill out the appeal form first, and then I got told to come up here, state my case and all that.
Sure, but who told you you had to fill out that appeal board?
I couldn't even tell you.
Okay.
I don't-
Are you on probation here in Brown County?
I'm
Did that
not.
transfer?
I am not. I actually served the time for it, and they sentenced me down in Nebraska.
Okay. Okay. All right. So I guess the first thing we're going to talk about then is, well, why did you move to Brown County?
I moved up here to meet my family up here that I've never really seen them twice in my life, and I was just needed a new start, a new life, and I knew they were up here.
Okay. All right. So then tell us, now I understand, so everybody else knows that you were convicted of a sexual offense in Nebraska. So tell us what the circumstances were, because each state kind of has their own, what they call their charges and whatnot. So if you can tell us what you did, what you were convicted of, and then how it came about.
I was convicted of attempted enticement by electronic communication device.
Okay.
It was messages over Facebook.
It was messages?
Yeah.
Okay.
I was trying to help her with problems that she's having in school. And I was sitting in county jail for a post-release supervision violation from prison my first time. And I had a law enforcement officer come in and tell me I'm being charged with this, that I'll be going to court for it, and talk to my attorney. And it was supposed to go to trial, but I told my lawyer not to. I told him to speed it along, and she was going to testify. The person was going to testify on my behalf and not be charged with anything.
So I'm a little bit confused. So you were sending this victim messages on Facebook?
Just saying hi and trying to help her through school, and because she was being bullied in school, and they misconstrued the conversation, deemed it lewd and lascivious. Nothing sexual was said, no pictures, nothing was sent.
Okay. And so they sentenced you to 6 months in the county jail on that?
Yeah,
Okay. And no probation?
no probation.
Okay. So we have a representative from our local police department. I'm not sure if he's going to be able to confirm any of this information since it's from another state, but Lieutenant, do you have any information on this case?
I did read the criminal complaint. I can confirm what the charges were, but the criminal complaint is does not notate any details of the offense.
Oh, interesting.
Nebraska must do things differently because it does not have a summation of the probable cause.
Okay, all right, thank you. Okay. Does anyone have questions on that?
So you wrote in, how do you feel the sexual crime affected your victim? There wasn't necessarily, what you're, in your mind, a victim, right?
But I believe you're correct. I don't feel like she was a victim because she was going to go up to trial, testify on my behalf, saying nothing happened. Yes, she was 16 years old. I mean, I didn't know that at the time, but I don't feel like I've done any mental or physical harm to her.
How old were you at the time?
I was 21, almost 22, I believe.
Okay. And you don't recall saying anything sexual or anything that...
Not that I can remember. My memory's kind of crap. I don't have a very good memory.
Okay.
How old did you think she was?
18 at least.
Okay, because earlier you made a comment that you were just really talking to her, helping her, because she was being bullied at school. So, I mean, I guess I would think if someone's in school, maybe they're under the age of 18?
I mean, you're a senior at 18 years old, so.
Okay. Any other questions, you guys? Okay. Any treatment? Did you have to, were you court ordered to do any types of treatment?
No, ma'am.
Okay. Are you working?
I am not. I am currently waiting for pacemaker replacement here in actually not too long. And then I'm going to get back on my health track and try to get employed or get on disability. Either one. I haven't really thought that far ahead yet. I'd like to get a job, but
Okay. So did you get released from prison and then you just immediately, or from jail and then immediately came here to Wisconsin?
well, I got out in August of last year out of prison. Then I lived in Nebraska City for a while. And I came up here on a whim to see my family and get to know them. And up here since.
Ever since?
Yeah, I've been up here since December 4th of last year.
Okay. So really, it's been more than 2 to 3 weeks. It's been a little over a month.
Not this residence. I've had to actually stay in a motel because I got told in Swamico that I couldn't live with my father because of the registry and all that stuff, and so I had to live in a motel. And then they kicked us out because apparently I was not. They were complaining about my dogs, and you were allowed to have 2 dogs. And I had 2 dogs that were complaining that they stunk, whatever, and we gave them baths every day. So they kicked me out, and I wasn't trying to sleep in my car because it was cold. It was negative, like 15 degrees outside, so I asked my grandma if I could stay there, and she had no problem with it. And I didn't really have a choice, either freeze or stay warm.
Well, I'm going to just say, I think we all have choices. I mean, I think the first choice should have been to find out if it's okay for you to live, rather than move all the way from Nebraska to find out if it's okay for you to live in our city. That probably would have been the first step, the choice to make, right?
The laws of registry are different up here. I didn't know there was restricted areas because there's not those in Nebraska City, in Nebraska at all. The only restrictions we have is like I can't live within a school zone as of Ottawa County stuff. I didn't think to check that there's restricted areas to live in that I couldn't live in. You're right, I should have, but I didn't realize. I figured they were similar, but I guess I was wrong.
Do you guys have any questions?
Not right now.
Okay.
I got one question.
Yeah.
It says on here you have a fiance.
Yeah,
Okay, she's here in Green Bay?
yeah.
Okay.
Okay. I'm just gonna kind of tell you how I feel. So, I typically don't like to approve people from another county, let alone another state, because our own sex offenders in our community have a difficult time finding residents, right? So I typically do not like to approve those individuals. My one concern for you is you kind of have a pretty extensive background, a criminal background. I mean, at one point, I think I saw that you had 2 terrorist threats. Is that correct? You were charged with 2 terrorist threats?
I was charged with assaulting a peace officer
Assaulting a police officer?
back in 2016.
Okay. I thought that I saw in 2016. Oh, yes, terrorist threats. Oh, and then it was amended to a 3rd-degree assault. So that's when you assaulted a police officer?
I didn't really assault them. I mean, I got in a glove tussle with them in the county jail. I was a hot-headed kid. And I mean, I've talked to the officers since.
Okay.
I don't really have a problem.
Do you think you have an extensive criminal history?
I would say so.
Yeah. So my concern is, for me, why do I want to bring that to our own community, right? You have your ties to your grandparents, to your community here, but other than that, I have to look at protecting the rest of our community, right? Typically, we're here mainly, to decide about your sex offense. You're saying that there were nothing sexual in nature about it, but for some reason or somehow, what Nebraska is charging, it correlates to what our community says is a sex offense, correct? Am I correct in that?
Yeah, so the electronic communication or enticement by electronic communication device, it can include either transmitting any lewd, lascivious, or obscene language, writing, or sound, or transmitting otherwise disseminates any visual depiction of sexually explicit conduct, or offers or solicits any indecent, lewd, or lascivious act. So it can be any one of those options would qualify under the statute.
Okay.
Remember any of that happening?
No.
No pictures, no suggestions.
You just don't remember?
I really don't remember what was said in the conversation.
And so that's where I struggle right now, right? You don't really remember much of this incident that, again, I mean, it occurred back in 2016, 2018, right? Unfortunately, our own law enforcement can't get us the details where maybe we could read to try to find out what exactly happened to refresh your memory. So I really honestly am struggling to have you continue to reside here in Green Bay. But I have other board members here that.
There was someone who wanted to speak
Okay.
on his behalf.
Yep, perfect. We'll get there too.
Well, I agree with Heidi. If I knew more about, or if you were able to be more honest about what happened, I would like to hear that, but you don't remember, I get it. So, we have enough problems in this community as it is with what we have to deal with on our own, and with our own law enforcement people. So, I'm leaning on denying right now.
I mean, I've done my time. I've paid my dues.
Yep, I understand that 100%.
I've had no problems with law enforcement up here. I've done everything I've been asked to, of registering with the sheriff's office, with the state building, all that.
Mhm.
I don't see why. This is my home now. I can't go back to Nebraska. I can't. I ain't got the money to.
Okay.
And I can't get a job up here.
Well, right now, we haven't made a decision. We're just telling you how we feel right now. And there's somebody who wants to speak on your behalf. Who is that?
Can you stand here?
Yeah. Oh,
I'm handicapped.
Sure, are you okay with it? You'll just need to state your name. You don't have to move. State your name and address for the record, please. Okay.
I don't know how to tell everybody how much I love this boy. He has been so kind and so gentle and so loving. The first instant I saw him, I thought, oh my God, he's so big. Last time I saw him, he was 9 months old. And he died when he was 16 years old. He dove in a pool and his heart stopped. He was 7 minutes without oxygen, which put him back probably 2 years in his growth. He's got a couple of other a couple other things that he needs therapy for that he was not getting at home. I have been on his case to make sure he makes his meetings. You don't do this if you don't have a letter, or you can't do it if you don't have a card or a letter or something like that. He's not drinking. As far as I know, he's not doing any kind of drugs. He lives in my home. He's been taking care of us. He came home on December 4th. And he's precious. Nobody gave him a chance. I thought maybe Wisconsin could give him a chance. He didn't know his parents, his alcoholic stepfather threw him out. His mother kind of threw him out. And then the Lord brought him home. I told him I'll kick his ass if he doesn't behave. I don't know what else to say about him. He's precious.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Questions for her, or you guys good? Okay. I truly appreciate what you had to say, but I still am. I personally am concerned about you staying here. I will tell you that something that could potentially change my mind. I mean, again, we still have to vote, but I'm going to let you know where I'm coming from. Is if you were able to get us a copy of the criminal complaint so we can read that court transaction to find out what they said actually went on. If it's what you're saying, you were just trying to help this girl that, she was being bullied at school, well, that's a big difference. Versus if there were really pictures or suggestive actions that were in those messages, makes a big difference for us, right? Well, at least it makes a difference for me. So at this point, we have to take a vote, but I am not going to approve you to reside here. But again, like I said, you can always, if it does not get passed, you can come back and you could provide us that documentation, and maybe we could look at things at it in a different way. But again, we have other board members here who can make a decision too.
I have a question.
Yeah.
What have you learned from this whole situation, and what would you change?
What have I learned?
Yeah.
To not automatically assume they're of age or above age. And one thing I would change, I wouldn't message her at all if I knew her true age.
Oh, you still use Facebook?
I do. I use it, go on Marketplace, I watch videos. That's all I do on there. I don't post anything, I don't talk to anybody.
Okay, thank you.
I'll make a motion to move to deny.
Okay, is there a second? I'll second it. All in favor? Aye?
Aye.
Okay. All right, so right now, all three of us denied you to reside at the 1411 Cass. Now, that does not mean you have to move to Nebraska, it just means you cannot stay at that address.
Where am I supposed to go? I don't know anybody else up here.
I'm sorry, that's not our concern. like I said in my earlier vote, or discussion before the vote, if you can provide us a copy, get a copy of that criminal complaint and the transaction that happened in the court proceedings, get it to the law office, reapply, that would be considered new documentation.
Mhm.
So we could consider you at that time.
I'm supposed to sleep in my vehicle and freeze to death?
Again, sir, that's
Can't
not
help you with
our
that.
concern right now. Our concern is you cannot live at 1411 Cass Street. If there are other areas, I'm not telling you to live in the streets, there are other areas that you can go to,
Away from my family, away from people I know.
okay? Thank you.